All right, let's start right here. We said it. I teased it up the top. Chicken players, unsexy players. Chicken players.
Yeah, it's a Jim Harbaugh thing.
Oh, yeah.
It's a
Nervous bird.
Nervous player. Like,
Yeah.
he thinks chicken is a nervous bird.
Yeah.
I don't know if we have the tweet there, but yeah, I mean, chicken is a nervous bird, according to head coach Jim Harbaugh. He didn't want his players at Michigan to eat chicken. And so as a result, every year that I do my 10 list of 10, which is available now on rotoworld.com, NBCSportsEdge.com for free. I'm, of course, a company man. I have my chicken players. And these are guys, Connor, that make me nervous.
Yeah.
I have them ranked appropriately. I'm not saying they're going to be bad this year. I just, like every year there's a guy, whether it's due to injury, whether it's bad performance, like every year there's guys that just sort of just don't live up to expectations.
Sure.
They're just guys that, based on where they're going at ADP, just give me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah, cold feet. I want to. The first one fascinates me.
Sure.
Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Maybe not a very popular pick. Not a popular pick for this exercise. People love Joe Burrow this year. They see Jamar Chase. They see all the Ferraris at wide receiver.
Yeah, upgraded the offensive line. That was the only issue.
Sure. Why are you nervous? I know the schedule is tough.
Schedule is tough. The Bengals' defense is good.
Yep.
And while the offensive line is good, great. He's going to have more time to throw. Fantastic. They're also going to be able to run the ball more effectively. Right, and so I think they maybe get into some more balanced offense. They don't need to get into shootouts. You think about last year when Joe Burrow had 3 different games. He had the 2 games against Kansas City, one of which was that Week 17 crazy shootout game. And then he had 2 different games against the Ravens, and then the Week 17 shootout game against Kansas City. So correcting myself right there. Yep. So we had 3 games where he just had monster numbers. Those 3 games accounted for 47% of his fantasy points last year. He doesn't run. So he needs to go where he's going and he's going as a top 5 quarterback on Yahoo, which is mind-boggling.
Yeah, over Herbert sometimes.
I've seen him go over Herbert. He's going over Lamar Jackson, over Kyler. Sometimes he's going over my ride or die Jalen Hurts. I don't know. To be a pocket passer and go as a top 5 fantasy quarterback, you need to have insane, truly massive passing touchdown upside. And I get it with those wide receivers, maybe. I think in that division, I think there are going to be more close games. I don't think he's going to have to get a shootout. And if you look at his numbers from last year, he had that magical run to the Super Bowl. But prior to Week 17, so the last 2 weeks he was great, he had 6 straight games with, 2 or fewer touchdown passes. He was more inconsistent than I think people realize. So he makes me nervous considering where he's going.
Do you think there's a component to it, too, that, hey, they improved the offensive line drastically. We're so excited that now it's hey, we could also run the ball more.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
right?
Exactly. I think Mixon has a big year. I mean, and they love Samaje Perine, probably too much, probably cost him a Super Bowl. But, the fact is right, that's what I'm saying. I think it is a more balanced offense this year because they have the ability to run the ball and because, honestly, they're not going to have to get into shootouts because their defense is really good.
Okay, a team that might find themselves in some shootouts, the Dolphins. And on this list, Tyreek Hill, one of the biggest acquisitions of the offseason, paid a premium price for him, not just with draft capital, but also with the contract. Goes from Patrick Mahomes to Tua Tagovailoa. That's a big change. It's
a downgrade. You're saying big change. You're being nice. I won't
Very
be.
polite.
I've been in traffic for 3.5 hours.
Let it all out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's bad.
Yeah.
It's a downgrade. All due respect to Tua Tagovailoa, you ain't Patrick Mahomes. By the way, there's only 2 people on the planet that aren't even close to Patrick Mahomes. So that's not an insult to not be as good as Patrick Mahomes, but that's a massive downgrade. It's a downgrade in talent. It's also a downgrade in just chemistry. Think about how many off-schedule plays that Tyreek Hill and Patrick Mahomes connected on over the years, right? It breaks down, scrambles. Tyreek, just go long. Will that connection be there with Tua immediately? The other thing is there's just so much unknown. Fantasy is so random because of the way games go that we try to narrow out the randomness as much as we can. And with this offense, new head coach, a lot of new pieces. It's not just Tyreek Hill, but they added Cedric Wilson, they added Chase Edmonds, They added Raheem Mostert. How do those guys fit with Jalen Waddle and Mike Gesicki? A lot of chess pieces for Mike McDaniel to play with, who's never been a head coach before. How does that all work out? There's so much unknown about this Miami offense for Tyreek Hill to be going where he's going, which is basically wide receiver 8 or 9 on Yahoo. You need to be really sure about this. And the one thing I'm sure about is the guy's talented. Tyreek Hill's super talented, but does he get the massive target share that he got in Kansas City? How much is a downgraded quarterback? He makes me nervous. So he's on the chicken list. Again, I have him ranked as a top 10 wide receiver. I also own no shares of him this year.
Interesting. Yeah, you have him as wide receiver 8. His ADP is right around 23.5. That's a significant investment for him. So I understand.
Yeah,
I understand the reservations. Another one here in the backfield, David Montgomery, and this one.
I know, and I heard you and Denny talking him up, and I know.
No, but the offensive line's really a bad unit.
We had Coach Garrett on the Fantasy Football Happy Hour earlier, right? And, contractually obligated. Coach Garrett didn't want to come here. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
But they threw it into his contract when he wasn't looking.
He didn't use traffic.
Right, exactly. You have to slum with Barry every once in a while. Poor Coach Garrett. They'll suck Coach Dungy in here at some point too. Anyway, so poor Coach Garrett, contractually obligated Jason Garrett, came here and was very nice, and he did a training camp tour, and he's gone, and he knows the Chicago coaching staff. A lot of those guys have worked with him at the Cowboys, and so he just said, and Jason Garrett might be the nicest man on the planet, so when Jason Garrett he's just like, that offensive line is going to take a little time to gel.
Pull it out of him.
Right? He was just like, it's going to take a little time to gel. It's a work in progress, which is Jason Garrett speak for. They're brutal.
They stink.
That's the worst offensive line in football. And so now David Montgomery, is it, the pro David Montgomery argument is that he's a 3-down back who gets massive volume. But we don't know that. This is not a coaching staff. Then Khalil Herbert's a good running back, and I heard Denny earlier in the show talk about Herbert as a waiver wire pick. I totally agree with that. For all we know, this could be a committee. It could be a 50-50 split, and so we just don't know that Montgomery's going to get the kind of workload he did last year. And even if he does, how effective is he given how much we expect that offensive line to struggle? So Montgomery just makes me nervous. He's one of those guys that's going in that running back dead zone where I'm just like, I'd much rather take a wide receiver there, or even a tight end, or one of the early quarterbacks. In that rounds 4 through 6 range. Give me the Kyler Murrays, the Jalen Hurtses of the world. Give me the wide receivers, the Brandon Cookses that are going there, the Cortland Suttons. Give me those guys, not Dave Montgomery.
Yeah, a committee back on a team that should have a struggling offense because of the bad offensive line, and honestly, a quarterback whose legs should be utilized in the red zone more, which could take away goal line touches from Montgomery.
Usually mobile quarterbacks help running backs generally in terms of fantasy production, but to your point, if Justin Fields calls it, let's call it 4 rushing touchdowns this year, 5, which is not out of the range. Of course, right? He's so mobile, like we saw a couple of great ones last year. 4 touchdowns that potentially would have gone to David Montgomery if Andy Dalton were still under center, then, that makes a big difference.
All right, the last one on the chicken list, Dallas Goddard.
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is your guy.
He is.
Dallas Goddard, you're a little concerned about. They made a huge move, getting A.J. Brown, a target monster. We know that. A.J. Brown comes in and commands the football.
He had a 27% target share last year.
Massive.
Right, so he's going to get a 25 to 30% target share on this team. You've also got Devante Smith. We know this is going to be, we expect it at least, we expect this to be a slow-paced team that is going to be still run-heavy because of their offensive line, because of the 3-headed monster they have at running back, because of Jalen Hurts' own ability with his legs. We expect this is a team that was one of the most run-heavy teams in the NFL. They were top 2 in the NFL in terms of rushing attempts last year. So this is a team that we expect to once again, they'll be more balanced this year, but it would still lean towards the run. 6 red zone targets. Last year without A.J. Brown there, Dallas Goedert had 6 red zone targets, 37th among tight ends. And so the argument with Dallas Goedert is that you expect a lot of volume, but again, with A.J. Brown and Devante Smith there, I think Goddard's a really nice player. I'm concerned about the red zone usage, and I'm concerned about the volume on what should be a slower-paced, run-heavy team. And for him to be going, I've seen him go as tight end 7 or 8. I'd much rather have Zach Ertz. I'd rather have Zach Ertz straight up, but especially Zach Ertz 2 or 3 rounds later.
All right.
His former teammate, for an easy comparison. I'd much rather Hawkinson, who's going around the same range as Goddard as well. He just, again, chicken player. Makes me nervous. Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBC Sports and RotoWorld.com. Just want to thank you so much for watching what you just watched, or at least being too lazy to click out of it after the autoplay just kept it going. So either way, thank you so much for just letting it scroll by your screen. And now I'd like to ask you respectfully, please subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel for the latest NFL news, fantasy headlines from RotoWorld, and betting analysis from NBC Sports Edge.